And God's forgiveness goes a lot further than yours and mine.
This was the face and the voice the world knew as Billy Graham. William Franklin Graham, Jr., born near Charlotte on November 7, 1918. He was the oldest of 4 children and grew up on a dairy farm. Well, today there's an office park on that property near Park Road in Woodlawn. His parents were strong Christians, and the family faithfully attended the Associated Reformed Presbyterian Church. But it wasn't until a traveling revival in the fall of 1934 that 16-year-old Billy dedicated his life to Christ. When it came time for college, Graham headed south to Florida Bible Institute, where he got his first taste of preaching, spreading the gospel from street corners and rescue missions. It was during those years that Graham became a Baptist and began his lifelong membership in the Southern Baptist Convention. He continued his education at Wheaton College in Illinois, earning his degree in anthropology. There, he met Ruth Macular. Billy and Ruth were married on August 13, 1943. After graduation, his first and only job as pastor was at a Baptist church near Chicago. He took over a religious radio show called Songs in the Night and preached on the program every Sunday. Not long after, Graham gave up both jobs to become vice president of Youth for Christ, a position that offered him his first taste of religion on the road. He preached throughout the United States and in Europe and was considered by many to be a rising young evangelist. In 1948, Graham resigned from Youth for Christ to strike out on his own. One short year later, he made his mark at a crusade in Los Angeles.
Jesus Christ, the Son of God, has an answer to every burden that you carry. He can forgive every sin.
Overflow crowds greeted him nightly, turning a scheduled 3 weeks of preaching into 8. It was that crusade that really launched Graham's national and international career. The next decade was a whirlwind, with crusades in all the major U.S. cities and rallies in Africa, Asia, South America, and Europe.
There is only one way that men can get to heaven, one road. Jesus said it was a narrow road.
Graham wrote his first book, charted his syndicated newspaper column, began his Hour of Decision radio show, which still airs today, and founded the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Because evangelism was his first love, Billy Graham continued to spread the word around the globe, from the Australian outback to New York City. But even with his enormous popularity, Billy didn't enjoy the spotlight.
I despise all this attention on me. I wish we could publicize the meetings in some way in which my name were not used.
In later years, Graham was allowed to preach in almost every country on the former Eastern Bloc, including the former Soviet Union. Graham maintained his full-tilt lifestyle into 1992, when he confirmed to the world what he'd known for 3 years. He had Parkinson's disease, an affliction of the central nervous system that left him with shaky hands and a shuffling walk.
I thought I was dying, and my whole life came before me.
In November of 1995, Dr. Graham started to slow down, and his eldest son, Franklin, was made vice chairman of the Billy Graham Evangelical Association Board. Graham's last Carolina crusade was in September of '96 at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
They said you couldn't fill the stadium, but the Lord did.
Graham's plaudits and awards would fill a book. The Gallup poll regularly named Graham one of the 10 most admired men in the world. He's been listed in Who's Who of America every year since 1954. Graham was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom, this country's highest civilian award, and North Carolina followed with the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Presidents and kings called him friend. Billy and Ruth Bell Graham made their home in the mountain town of Montreat. They were blessed with 5 children, 19 grandchildren, and numerous great-grandchildren. Billy Graham held his last crusade in New York City in 2005.
Jesus is the truth. He is the light.
Just a few months prior to that last crusade came an historic moment for the Graham family, when Billy helped dedicate the new Billy Graham Evangelistic Association headquarters here in Charlotte. Then in May of 2007, a rare sight, as 3 former presidents traveled to Charlotte to honor Dr. Graham at the dedication of the Billy Graham Library. But the celebration would be short-lived. Just a few weeks later, on June 14th, Billy Graham lost the love of his life and his best friend, Ruth. An unforgettable and touching moment as Billy placed a rose on Ruth's casket. He would largely stay out of the public eye in recent years, but he made a public appearance December 2010 as former President George W. Bush came to the library for a book promotion. Billy Graham will be remembered as America's pastor, but here in Charlotte, he was our own.